But Jim, I don't want to go live yet, man.
Sorry, we're live.
Ah, shit.
There's my wife's notification. Okay, so we are on the air. Dusty's back there in his light box.
Dusty's heading for the light. Stay away from the light.
And I have no idea why we're doing it. I was in the middle of Walmart, and you guys were like, hey, put up a show. It's like, all right, fine. So
no, you wanted to do a show the other day, and we're all like, yeah, we're not in the mood.
Yeah.
I was in the mood.
I was
in the mood.
Jason's always in the mood.
You know it.
He likes showing off his unit.
The unit that never was.
So waiting for everybody to file in. And
all right, so thanks everybody for coming. Y'all have a good night.
I don't know where my water went. I didn't realize I had it back there.
All right, Robin, Beth, Mr. Sadie, and Jeff, thanks for showing up early, being on time. I don't know. I don't know.
We're truly an on time for these shows.
There is no on time.
Well, we were sitting having this awesome conversation. I'm like, wait a minute. People are asking, was it supposed to have already started? Because like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I have to smell these socks and see if they're worthy of putting on my feet. Being cold.
All right, everybody's filing in. Diana, Brian, Thrift Daddy, Florida Hidden Treasures, Margot, Denise. Hey, everybody. How's it going? We're alive. If you don't watch the morning show, then you may not know that, we're still here. I was just in Walmart, like I said. I was in the checkout line for like 20 minutes. I literally went into their little Subway and ordered a sandwich and came back and I'm still, checking out.
And ate it.
Yeah.
I went to the bathroom and took a number 2.
He got the Jared foot wrong.
The lady in front of us was just, I don't know. She had a baby strapped to her like a fucking kangaroo. And that didn't bother me. Her credit card didn't work. That didn't bother me. What bothered me the most was she asked the cashier, do you guys sell car chargers? I'm like, have you not been in a Walmart in fucking 25 years? Like, of course.
They're all the way in the back of the store. Next.
They're in the checkout. Like, she had to walk right past them. That's what pissed me off about that whole 20-minute whatever.
You were pissed off way before that, I'm sure.
Well, I've been pissed off for days. I don't know about what, but I've just been ornery and, pissy. Reseller Niche, hello. Jen, hey. I'm really into shout-outs. So what's been going on with you guys?
Rain.
I've been in a blah mood.
Dude, you do realize, welcome to Alabama, you do realize it's supposed to rain through like September the 8th.
Yeah. Yeah. What gets me about the rain here is it can be downpouring and then like 20 feet later in the car, it's complete dry.
Those are summer. We call those pop-up showers.
Yeah.
Because they needed a fancy name.
Yeah. Don't have a stroke. Not have a stroke.
That's pretty much what's been going on with us.
Yeah, not much here. Not much at all. Just, just hanging out. Not literally, but.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for stopping in today. You guys have a good time.
Yeah. I do have storage auctions to go to tomorrow, so that should be.
But the key with the gym is, are you actually ever going to buy one of these things, or you just like touristy storage auction touring or something?
Jim's there like a Nikon.
No, my practice on storage lockers, auctions, is if you're new to the area, if you're new to the auctioneer, if you're new to the facility, you kind of view it first and then you buy, after you know what's going on. You know the auctioneer, you know the other buyers, things like that. I think I've been to enough now where I can start putting some bids in.
Okay.
I don't know. I'd rather bid first than just be in total chaos, to be honest.
Yeah. No. I like to take my time about it and study everybody. So.
Yeah, all those other smoke and locker deals, he passed up. He was just learning.
Learning curve.
On top of that, there's been nothing to buy. I mean, it's been bad. Nothing for me to buy. If you're a furniture reseller, then there's great lockers, but not enough boxes in these lockers. So.
Yeah, it does kind of suck.
Yeah. We'll see. Tomorrow's public storage, and what's nice about them is they don't hire an auctioneer.
Yep.
Their management does it, and in North Carolina, they didn't take deposits for cleaning, so that's more money you can spend on your locker, which is actually kind of smart, I think. But
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I never really thought about the deposit so much before, but I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when
you're working off of a cash basis and that's all the money you have, then I mean that can take $100 out of your pocket that you have to set aside.
It that way.
I'd say half of the people attending probably have less than $500 in their pocket.
Oh, okay.
So when you're taking 20% of that out just to a deposit.
Yeah, that can drive the price down.
Yeah.
I mean, I just never think of it because, I just know I'm getting it back in my head. So it's not even.
Right, yeah.
But I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
But you're probably showing up with, enough. We'll put it that way. Just enough. All right. D. Skinner asked Jim, how's the new area in relation to finding crap to sell? If you've watched my last couple of sales update videos, that's all been mostly stuff that I've picked here. I'll go to my overview page. eBay. My last 30 days, I'm up 90%. My year over year, I'm up 17.4%.
Damn, Jim.
Yeah, so it's been better.
2% over the last 31 days.
How much?
Up 2.1%.
Well, that's kind of a farcical number because
that's just month to month. But I mean, for the year, same period last year, I'm up 61% over last year. That to me is a better number to look at.
Right. Yeah.
That's what every retail store looks at is year to year. They don't look at last month to this month. So
well, and I'm up so much because last month was moving, getting settled in, so I wasn't really buying a whole lot. I wasn't listing a whole lot. So the year-over-year number being up 16%. I think I'm.
How do you tell you're up 16%?
How can you tell?
You talking about for eBay?
Yeah.
Look at go down to your sales box and see, it'll tell you
Sales
compared
box.
to the same period last year.
I have to click the sales box?
Yeah.
No, on your Seller Hub page, your overview page,
Yeah.
down the bottom it'll say sales last 31 days and compare to prior 31 days and compare the same period a year ago.
Mine says today, last 7 days, last 31 days, last 90 days.
Not that box, go all the way to the bottom.
Oh, wrong box. Story of my life. Last 31 days compared to compared to same period a year ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm up 81.3%. You know what that's at? eBay's dead.
I know.
I'm going to sign up for Bitcoins.
Hold on, now I got a tip. Where is this again?
No,
That was for you, Jack Smack.
Sales
overview, and then all the way down to the bottom.
Performance. Wait. I don't see it.
It should be a sale. It should say sales last 31 days. Its own special box.
to the right.
Okay,
I'm under performance, right?
put your thing in the
Overview.
box.
Go to the overview page, your Seller Hub overview.
Okay.
Now go all the way down to the bottom.
Okay.
It's like lots of little boxes that should be 3 per row. Go to the very last row, the middle box.
Yeah, but it's different for everyone because I custom.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
okay.
jacked it all
What-
up.
Find out where you put it at, and then that's where it's at.
What's the title?
Sales.
Oh, sales. Okay. Hold on.
The sales last 31 days.
Okay. Last 31 days.
I have a question. I'm looking at my
All right.
monthly limits. What is 2.1B? Is that 2.1 billion?
Could be.
It says
What's your percent, Jason, from last year?
Oh, it's down like 32.
well, it's time to quit sitting around drinking freaking Diet Fanta and jacking around watching porn. And
He would never touch Diet Fanta when he had SEMAs around the house.
no, it is. He drinks Tab.
Tab, yes.
Diet Fresca. How about that one?
Fresca's already diet. You don't have to add a diet to it.
Fresca's like seltzer with a little bit of lime squeeze in it.
No, but that, I mean, that actually, and I'm not trying to start drama, which I always do, so whatever. But, there has been some talk lately of, eBay's dead in 5 years, eBay isn't going to be this and whatever. And I've heard that since 1998. Here comes PayPal. They're introducing credit cards. That's it. I quit. eBay's dead. They're doing, I mean, God, when they started all the stuff with, you can't leave negative feedback anymore for a buyer. That's it. eBay's dead. If I had a nickel for every time I've heard eBay's dead, and I just kept plodding along, you adjust your business model, you tweak it a little bit, whatever tweaking means, you get out of your little comfortable niche of whatever you're selling if it's not working anymore and move into something that is. There you go. Is that wrong?
No.
Well, that's. It may be, is it better than sitting in a flea market every weekend?
If you can sit and look at me with a dead serious face and say eBay's dead, it's not going to be here 5 years, whatever. If somebody can actually say that, then I'm going to tell you you're doing it wrong to begin with.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just not for you.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people out there that it's just not for them.
It's really all just what you put into it is what it comes down to.
No.
Hey, meet me on the stairs for a second. I got some of yours. Sorry, I'm having to communicate with my children. Remember, we had intercoms back in the day.
Yeah.
Then we have iPhones.
For me, I did like really strong in June, so I kind of just mellowed out for July and half August. Maybe all of August, let's face it.
I mean, when I look at my whole entire summer, it's just like, I mean, Eric, you remember I was hitting it hard and heavy just all the way through like January through May, and I was on track to probably do $150,000 worth of sales on eBay. And I purposely took vacation. We had people die. We had shit happens. And I thought, I need to spend time with my family. And I did what I wanted to do. And that's one of the joys of being in this business. So I have nobody to blame but myself if my sales are down. Hey, Gabe, this is your Windows key. Unless I send that case. Hang on to that.
I concur.
Well, but I changed the numbers around because you could change it month to month. And I know June was a strong month for me. And I ended up being 150.4%. So
Yeah.
it just depends on what you put into it. That month I put a lot of effort into it. So it's going to pay out,
What's this crazy notion of effort you put in means better stuff coming out? That's just odd. Things like that.
I don't know.
And I think for 2 months after the interstate move to be up at 17.4%, that's pretty good for a 2 month, ramp up.
I mean, you got to figure you took almost a month off by the time you slow down to move and then ramp back up. I mean, that's.
Oh, it was more than a month. I mean, I basically just listed garbage that I was trying to get rid of for May and then into June. And then we moved, and then it took, 6 weeks to get back. I mean, I was red for a while. I was like 19, 20% under my year over year. So it's a pretty good swing.
Zilke's so funny. He's like, Amazon's dead too.
Yeah.
He always loves to steer away other sellers from his platform. It's great.
Max said, I think the population of eBay is going to change. Lots of people are going to get steamrolled, in my opinion. Amazon picked up all the slack for the down portion of the summer on eBay, but you know my feelings on how fickle Amazon is. I think there's a lot of people, and I think Jack's even said this before, there's a lot of people that are going to leave Amazon. I'm one of them, leave Amazon and move over to eBay. Amazon's gating things that are restricting products. That's going to cause prices to go up or prices to do whatever they do. Shoppers are going to leave, and I've said this all along, and this is my prediction. People are going to get more buyer confidence on eBay. They're going to start buying more on eBay. But then there's going to be a lot of people that just aren't going to be able to hack it and make it on eBay. And that's not a judgmental thing by any means. I mean, that's not that they're bad people or anything like that. But I don't know. I sit and watch. I don't really watch videos, other reselling videos, but, you know, I hear things. And people just seem too comfortable for expanding outside of their niche. And you know, I'm not going to beat up on clothing sellers, but I think that market's flooded. That market's flooded, and that market's going to stay flooded. You know, going to stay fairly flooded. And if that's all you're doing is trying to sell clothing, we're going to the same thrift stores, you know, over and over. I mean, Jim did a little experiment where he hit 7 or 8 thrift stores. He's like, this isn't going to work. You know, then what do? You figure out what's going to work. And for Jim, that might be storage units, or that might be whatever. You figure out plan B. You know, but I think there's too many people that get too comfortable or too scared or too whatever it is, and they don't want to figure out their plan B.
Right.
Where they're going to have a really tough time.
Hang on. I'm going to go chase kids away from my door.
Hey, yell at them like you don't have to bump a dog.
You must use these phrases. Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn, you little sons of bitches.
You do it. You got to do it right. I mean, you got to live the grumpy old man lifestyle.
I would just open the door and toss one of those heads out.
And don't ever come to my yard again, and toss the head out. Yeah.
That's what happened to the last little girl that came to the house.
Now, this isn't technically a wife beater. I did go through my, this is just a sleeveless shirt. I went out and walked today, and then Tristan and I got a call that I need to go look at some stuff to buy from a friend of mine. And so I literally came back from my walk, left my tennis shoes, workout stuff, everything on, and jumped straight in the car. When I walk outside, I wear the one without sleeves so I can get some sun.
But they were commenting on your tattoo, the fact that you can see it now.
Oh, you know, I've had that for 10 or 12 years. No, I did go through and find all my wife beaters, though. And when I say wife beaters, they're the Hanes undershirts or whatever. And I threw away about half of them. And the other half, I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever wear those. I mean, if I ever got skinny enough, I probably would just around the house or whatever. But
you got to get a little bit older.
I'd like to see Jim in a wife beater.
No, you wouldn't.
I'm working on that one.
I've got a side boob. Like right here. Like if you just crop the picture like from like here to here, like but on the side, it's pretty sexy.
Those are pit tits. Going on Grumpy wants to know when I'm doing a haul video. Whenever I have a haul. That's what I was just saying. I mean, I really haven't done anything for 4 or 5. There's nothing to show. You can't do a video. I mean, there hasn't been.
I just said you posted one 30 minutes ago. That was like a
Well, I did, and that was something. But, you know, and I got some other stuff while I was out, but it wasn't really anything exciting. It's old computer equipment and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really had anything really super exciting or anything. I mean, I've got some vintage circus programs and holiday on ice programs and stuff like that. But nothing woohooing or anything.
No.
What was that ceramic thing you got? That cow thing?
That's a Elsie the cow statue.
Yeah, that was cool.
So, but yes, I mean, it's only worth between 100 and 200 bucks. And it's a neat piece, but I need to make a big buy or something.
I recalled all my stuff from Amazon that was going to go to long-term storage fees, and my Amazon inventory dropped down to one item.
FBA?
Yeah.
Why did you purposely just leave one item?
No, that was all that. There were 77 items on the list, and I had 78 items. So that one item was from my last, what I sent in. So.
Blow up doll?
Yeah.
D. Skinner wanted to know if I sold most from that ammo loading haul. I mean, I listed the last of some catalogs last night, but yeah, it's all been gone. I might have one reloading die left, but I think I actually sold it. But I did okay with that one. No, I don't have anything left listed from that other than those catalogs. But there's still 4 banana boxes full of stuff in my living room that's all the brass and stuff that I've got a friend of mine that's supposed to come gotten, but I think he forgot about me.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember that.
Well, you made your money back plus some on that. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Those presses did good, right?
Yeah, and they were easy to list. I learned something in the process, and I think that's a big thing too. I mean, I don't list stuff just to learn, but I think if I can learn something and make money at the same time, then next time I see reloading stuff, which I'd sold a little bit of it in the past, but not much. But thanks to y'all and helping me go through it, I learned stuff as I went along, and so then the next time I'm not intimidated.
Yeah. Well, I find that stuff occasionally, and usually does pretty well.
I can never really get my hands on it. It just goes for too much money out here.
Yeah, sometimes it gets lotted in with the tools, because some like gun makers and stuff when I'm buying estates, and I just throw it in.
Oh, yeah. That'd be nice.
Oh, my Lord.
So I did go to an auction, not this past Monday, but the Monday before. Dusty and I had talked about going. It's a Monday auction at 11 a.m. and the ad says like dealer's auction. If you're a reseller, you have to be here. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna wait for Dusty. I'm just gonna go check it out. And Dusty, you should be glad that you didn't drag yourself up there for this auction. It's tons of food, like canned food, and other like bags of chips and things like that. Near expired or out of date stuff. Cheap Chinese clothing.
Was that the one that was hotter than hell, that place?
It is pretty warm in there. There's no AC. It's Monday at 11.
There's a gremlin on the wing.
Yeah.
Monday. Oh, Monday. That's like 45 minutes from here.
Yeah. And it's it's bad. And Ashley went with me, and we stayed there about an hour. And one of the sellers was calling out bids to the guy sitting next to him, which he didn't know, and the auctioneer was taking them. So he was bidding up his own stuff, and it was cool with the auctioneer. He was like, that's what you get for sitting next to Bubble, whatever his name is.
Wow.
So we just left. We're like, all right, if they're going to pull that kind of shit, then we're going.
Well, I don't have a problem with the seller bidding up his own stuff. Just he has to understand that he's going to do that. That means he's going to pay the commission to the auctioneer on that.
Right. If he was bidding himself, that's fine. But he's sitting next to a guy. I think it was his first time as well. And the auctioneer is looking for a bid. Hey, $5 a box. No, how about $3? And then he says, and then this guy goes, he said he'll give you $3.5, whatever. And the guy would be like, all right, that's where we're starting rolling. And then the guy's like, I didn't say anything. Like, he was all pissed.
Oh, I'd have punched somebody for that one.
Yeah. And it probably happened 5 or 6 times, and then we were just like, all right, let's go.
Odd.
Yeah.
Now, when you go to these auctions, are you usually with Ashley or are you solo?
Some half and half, you know.
I mean, does she enjoy it?
It took some warming up, but yeah, I think she enjoys going now. The first auction, she had a headache because there was so much going on that she was like trying to watch every bid and like swing her head back and forth. She probably gave herself a mouth concussion or something.
Gotcha. Jessica likes it as long as there's seating and food.
Yeah.
Yeah, how was the snack bar?
It looked good. It was 11 o'clock in the morning, so I didn't want to, cheeseburger.
You weren't really in the mood for a corn dog and some nachos?
Right. Yeah.
He'll be sitting out literally half the auction.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, and the auctioneer was like just dry and just, all business, no juke.
Got to have some personality there.
Something.
Or at least be fast.
Right.
I'm okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's
no personality.
Yeah, I went to the auction on Sunday, or bought a lot of paper goods and everything, and the auctioneer's like, I mean, he was started out just, $5, $3, $2. Somebody bids $2, like, all right, sold. I mean, he was that quick. He's like, we got a lot of stuff, we're gonna move through it. After about 20 minutes, it was suddenly he's begging for every dollar, and it went from screaming along to slow as hell.
Wow.
So, I mean, I got some really cool. I got a lot of tintypes and things like that, but I got some good stuff, but nothing super special. So the circus paper, I spent $70 on a box of vintage circus programs and stuff from going all the way back in the 40s. So
cool.
They're not that valuable though.
Jack Smack says, speaking of auctions, do government auctions have to specifically state that you need an FFL, or are you good to go if you don't have one that's not stated? He said there was one auction in Tennessee I was looking at last week that had several weapons, but it specifically stated must have FFL. Saw one earlier today that said that too.
If it depends on the auction and how they are doing it, and if FFL is a federal firearms license, to transfer, if you're not a resident of that state, then for a handgun, you have to have that transfer from FFL to FFL from your state to the next state. If it's a long gun, if it's an adjoining state, you don't need that. But some auction companies don't want to bother with that, so they want people to have their own. You can show up with your own FFL and get it by yourself. So you'd have to call them and get a clarification on it. Oh, they? Yeah. I'll be right back.
Hey Jim, I got to run. I got a cake in the oven.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Go get your cake. Travis, what are you doing?
Yeah, who is that keeps peeking in there?
My oldest son.
How old is he?
13.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's creepy. I've got enough heads behind me.
I know, it really is creepy. Especially that new one with the toupee or whatever that is on it.
Which one? The makeup one? Or
No, that one, yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we all flip firearms? Some of us do, some of us don't. Hey, Travis's friend is in here now. Sherry wants a cake now.
Actually, I wouldn't mind a cake, to be honest with you.
I think men of our size always want cake.
Hey.
Yeah.
Almost tempted to do my Cartman voice. I want cake. I'm not doing it though. Of course I want cheesy poos.
Cake and ice cream, yeah.
I missed what Eric said, but did he cover, well, he knows guns more than anybody. Did he cover like shipping from one FFL dealer to the other?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should be able to accommodate that. It's usually cheap. It's usually $20, sometimes a little more, 20, 40.
Is that all it is?
It depends on the dealer. I mean, they can set their own prices. Hold on, FFL dealer, grabagun.com. There we go. Zip code. Does that sound safe? Grabagun.com. Of course, they don't tell their. Gunbroker. I think Gunbroker is the one where you can go through to find one. See a list of transfer agents. Search by state, Alabama. Go search by zip code. Jeez, really? Handgun fee. Here's some price. Handgun, long gun, both 35, 35. Here's a guy in town that'll do both of them for 25, 25, 25. 25, 25, 25. This guy only charges 20 on long guns. So kind of jacked up. I can drive to Tennessee and buy a shotgun, but I can't drive up there and buy a pistol though. So whatever.
Yep.
That's your government helping you.
Blackberry Thistle Tea asks, anybody else here ever buy a birthday cake when it wasn't anybody's birthday?
Hell yeah, if it's on clearance at Walmart.
I don't think I've done that, but what I do religiously, any store we go to that has a cake section, I don't buy the cakes. I just go and visit them. I just go and look, and I'm like, hi, cake. Like,
it's like he's at the maternity ward at a hospital.
right. Then some Walmart employee comes up, which one's yours?
I do go to that little rack that's in the back. It's always in the back, at least the Walmart stores here. It's always in the back by the milk section. It's the oops, we baked too much or whatever. And they'll have like a birthday cake where they spelled somebody's name wrong or they never picked it up or whatever. And I have been known to buy those. Like, all right, kids, I'm bringing home cake. Of course, when the kids are little, I'm trying to be slick and I've got the knife out and I'm scraping the person's name off. My kids are so used to eating clearance stuff though that they're like, never really phased them.
You know, but I've never bought a cake when it wasn't somebody's, not a birthday cake. I bought, obviously bought cake.
Oh, the best is those cookies, the birthday cookies.
Like the cookie cakes, or
no,
just
like the it's like a flat cookie, like a big chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah, like the Great American Cookie Company thing that's on every food court and every mall. Hell yeah. And they're never fully cooked, so they're like cookie dough, which is the best kind. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jim, how did your egg thing come out?
my egg thing.
Yeah, you said last night you overdid it when Aldi had eggs for 25 cents a dozen. So you're trying to figure out how to use up 4 dozen eggs or whatever.
No, I actually just made a shit ton of deviled eggs. I mean, nice. Yeah, we bought a ton of eggs because I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna cook eggs in the morning now, and not eat cereal or whatever fucking Little Debbie's is hanging around. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna make a somewhat adult breakfast every morning, and that lasted about 3 days.
You could have frozen them. I didn't think about that. You could have actually gotten like sandwich-sized Ziplocs and put like cracked 6 eggs into each one, just enough for however many eggs you'd fix in the morning. You could have frozen them that way.
Yeah.
Eric and I were kind of like, eggs have expiration dates? Because like, I don't, I remember when my dad had the grocery store, the state inspector would come around with a freaking microscope and they would look through your eggs to make sure there wasn't, I don't know, any freaking embryos or whatever they're looking for. And I'm not really ashamed to say, but like our eggs you probably don't ever want to eat eggs at our house. Because it's like, I do rotate them out. We have that little clear thing in the fridge that has little holes, and I will rotate them out. And then the new dozens get stacked underneath that. And then we have, if they're on sale, a bunch of them will go in our little beer fridge thing or whatever. But
if it hatches, it expired.
If it hatches, it's halfway down to dinner at that point.
Right.
Now it's a sandwich. If it hatches,
according to the Prairie Homestead, you can totally freeze eggs.
Yep.
which I would have never thought about that. It just popped in my head just now. How do you freeze hard-boiled eggs? No, it says they don't freeze well.
Jim, I thought you were going to throw them at the frat house across the street.
I should have. Yes.
There you go.
Actually, I would have kept them in the fridge for another week or two and let them get nice and stinky.
There you go.
Yeah,
Dude, we've had. Well, the other trick that grocery stores do, and this is, I mean, not all grocery stores, but grocery stores can ask for extra egg cartons from, and they do this back in the warehouses too. They'll repackage eggs so that you don't have that date on the carton anymore. And they'll totally, so if you ever pick up a dozen eggs and there's not a date on them, it's probably because they've been repackaged. Because you have to order empty egg cartons, like small independent stores like my dad's. You know, you get in a case of eggs and you're going to have 3 or 4 dozen in there with broken ones. So you take out the good ones and you put them in other empty, you know, egg cartons or whatever. But we just repackaged. I mean, you know, we didn't sell anything to anybody that was 6 months out of date or anything, but
yeah,
I would just stuck them out there at 49 cents a dozen if they were, you know, getting expiration and somebody buy them that day.
Jim, what did you eat before eggs in the morning?
Like fucking Captain Crunch and shit.
Little Debbie snack cakes.
Yeah, because Little Oz has them for like 79 cents a thing. Like, so Ashley went and bought up a whole bunch of them for the kids. I'm eating them. Zebra cake breakfast.
I have eggs and sausage like almost every morning.
I'm officially old. I have bran flakes now.
Bran flakes?
But I put honey and like fruit in it, so it's not. It's kind of like raisin bran, but without the raisins.
Like I tried, like I bought honey bunches of oats. Right? I went to Costco. I bought honey bunches of oats, and I get it home, and like the next day or the next 2 days, I'm out early in the morning, so I'm picking stuff up while I'm out to eat. But then I get back, and it's all gone because the kids are eating that first, and they're leaving the fucking Cookie Crisp and the Captain Crunch and the Lucky Charms, like all that stuff is being left, and they're eating all. And I don't know if it's because they like it or they know that they'll get a reaction out of me because I'm like, stop fucking eating my food. Like, but
you buy the big like 10-pound bags of multi-meal brand off-brand Fruit Loops or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's good stuff.
It's like $2 a bag at Walmart or whatever.
Yeah, just stop buying the fun cereal and buy the old man cereal, and then they'll learn that they had it good back in the old days. They had it good.
Honey Bunches of Oats is not. It's like a good like middle of the road. You're not old. Like you're not eating like fucking grape nuts, and you're not like eating, you know, kitty stuff. It's right. It's a good like 30s to 50s cereal. I feel like Honey Bunches of Oats.
I eat on average, I eat 2 eggs a day, and my cholesterol, you know, I was talking to our chiropractor, Tristan's chiropractor / nutritionist guy, and he's like, you don't even want to get me started on cholesterol. He's like, it is such a scam. And I was going to do some more research on that one, but I think it just depends on how active you are. You know, my cholesterol level is, I get it every time I get blood, they send me back my cholesterol results, which is pretty cool. My cholesterol is perfect, and I eat 2 eggs a day. So, somebody asked, and I can't remember who it was. D. Skinner asked, Dusty, what's the worst part of running a grocery store? People. No, I mean, honestly, the holidays, because you are expected to be open. You're expected to be open because people are going to forget crap on Wednesday night, the day before Thanksgiving, and by God, they're going to be pissed if you're not still open at 9 o'clock because they forgot sage for their dressing or stuffing or whatever. The worst part, long hours. Well, I mean, even, you know, I made good money working for my dad, but, you know, my brother for a couple of years before my dad bought the store worked for another grocery chain. I mean, this is mid 90s. He made $500 a week as an assistant manager in the mid 90s, which sounds like good money, but it was 75 to 80 hours a week. He was salaried, and it was like you realize you're making less than minimum wage.
You do. I mean, that's when I worked in the grocery store in the mid 90s. I was making right around $5.25 a week.
Right.
And yeah, that's pretty standard. I mean, you know, you're salaried and you're going to work 50 to 55 hours a week on average, and then get to the holiday season, it's going to kick up to 70 to 75, and the pay doesn't change. But you do it because you get the same paycheck week to week. You know what it is.
Right.
So that's why you do it. But
I would think another bitch about working in a grocery store would be like the eve of a natural disaster, like the eve of a blizzard or a hurricane.
And when you live 45 minutes from home, you and your entire family from where the grocery store is located, and by God, your dad wants to get every last damn dime. I mean, he is selling boxes of Morton's iodized salt for people to put on their sidewalks. You know, we've been out of rock salt for a day and a half and everything else. I mean, he's literally going to get, 19 cents a pop, but by God, we're going to stay open till 10 o'clock. And I'm like, Dad, there's like nobody in the parking lot. There's a foot and a half of snow. We got to drive 45 miles. I don't care. We're going to stay open. We're going to, one year my mom was out of town visiting relatives back in Missouri. And my dad goes, you know what? I always wondered if we do any business on Christmas Day. Come on, let's go open the store. And I'm like, really? No. Yeah. And so he went and literally opened the store by himself. Wow. At night in the grocery store, you have these big metal aluminum racks that have trays on them that you take all your meat out of the meat case and you put them on the racks. You slide them in there. The meat cutter the next morning, what's still good, he puts out whatever, he pretty much grinds into ground beef or puts in the bone barrel or whatever. But Dad went up there to the store, 6:30 in the morning, pulled out the racks, just threw some stuff kind of half-assed in the case. He's like, I don't care. They're going to buy it. And went up, locked got one of the registered tills, opened one of the registers, put a sign on the office is closed, and he ran the store by himself for like 8 hours. And he's like, we did $4,500. I'm like, really? Really? You have nothing. My dad's a workaholic. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, Ashley was a manager for Walgreens, and they're open every day of the year. So we had to deal with that. She had to work Thanksgiving, so she didn't have to work Christmas. And once Travis came around, it was a struggle to get Christmas off for her, and she had to give up a lot of days and late nights and stuff to get the day off. And it's like that was kind of the beginning of the end for us when businesses started to stay open on Christmas and Thanksgiving, and we were always in retail, so it's like Black Friday is like 3 a.m. until midnight. And I was like, all right, is it really worth it?
I was gonna say, not just open, extended hours usually.
Right. Yeah.
I was in my favorite Walmart yesterday, and the manager, I got to talking to her. She was marking down a bunch of clearance stuff and doing an additional 50% off, and she's really cool. And I started straightening up the clearance, and she's like, where'd you work? And I'm like, what? I was like, because I'm fronting the shelves. And she's like, oh my God. She goes, do you go through departments and count how many out of stock racks you see and stuff? I'm like, oh yeah, I still do. I mean, we didn't do clothing, but I said, yeah, I still front and block shelves when my wife's, trying to decide what kind of rice she wants. And I'm over here fronting up all the cans or whatever. And she's like, yeah, I don't think that ever dies. And she's like, do you miss retail? And I was like, are you asking if I want a job? And she's like, well, no. And I said, no, I don't. She goes, what do you do now? And I said, I do online retail in my underwear from my computer whenever I want to do it. And she's like, wow, that'd be really, but I was like, no. I don't want to come work for Walmart. Although, managers make really good money there, but you sell your soul to Walmart, But she's really cool though. We got to talking about, I said, she goes, something about what did you hate? And I said, people. She goes, oh, I work here and I hate people. She started laughing. She's so cool. She's like, you're the one that bought the 3 pallets of Zuzu pet toys for $0.25 a piece about 3 or 4 years ago. And I'm like, you remember that? She goes, yeah, I do. Let me know what clearance you want and I'll work you a really good deal. So, I mean, that's back to kind of changing the subject, but that's what relationships are about. She remembered that. She said that actually did us with a huge favor. She said, yeah, it took us, if I remember correctly, a couple hours at customer service because it was a multi-mix. It was 5 different varieties, and they were all in case pack boxes, and we had to open each thing and then load them and scan them one at a time or whatever. She goes, but that was a whole lot better than me having to do price overrides with a key for the next 4 days straight. She said it probably would have taken a week to sell them all. She goes, you actually helped us. I appreciate that. And I was like, I made a lot of money. She's like, did you sell them all? And I said, yeah, I sent them all into Amazon. I got between $12 or $13 a piece and about $25 a piece. I paid a quarter a piece. I said I had fees come off of that, but I said, yeah, we had a really good Christmas because of that. She's like, well, good for you. What do you see here that you want? You know, and I've never had a manager, knock on wood, I've never had a manager in Walmart be that nice. You know, normally they look like they're stressed as hell.
Yeah.
The high turnover, high stress job.
All right, here's a good question. It was addressed to me, but it's a good one for everybody. How many days of the year are you up longer than 24 hours straight in this business? I would say for me, if it's a really good haul, probably only maybe twice a year.
I don't do it very often.
Twice a year, do I pull an all-nighter, but do what, Eric?
If I'm up on something like that, choose just because I can't sleep. I'm not necessarily working because I'm not effective if I've been up for that long.
Right.
I don't think I've ever done it 24 hours. What the hell is that?
I've not worked for 24 hours. Like when I had the thrift store, I was buying storage lockers to feed the inventory. It would be a long day. You know, we'd open up at 8 o'clock. I'd stay open till 10. I'd go to an auction, buy something, go back to the store, open back up from like noon till 7, and then close, and then go and pack a locker, bring it back to the store because I'm renting a U-Haul and I want to get that back. And yeah, so I might be up at night because my adrenaline is still going and because I'm not checking out what I got because I'm just literally pulling boxes out, throwing it in the store, and I'll deal with it tomorrow. But so I might be up, but I'm not necessarily working. And that was another lifetime. So
Fishing and Picking said Amish meat costs too much, and then I have to give them Amish meat costs too much, and then I have to give them a ride.
An Amish person would never go in your car.
There's a guy out by your house. He's the Mater man. On the way to right before you get to your house, he's on the right, or it might be right past your house. Anyhow, I don't want to tell exactly where you live, but anyhow, the Mater man is out there. He's got a lot of Amish produce and Amish honey, and he goes up to Tennessee and gets all this Amish stuff. Fresh fruits and vegetables. You might check him out.
I've never seen Amish produce before I moved here.
You know, I mean, they're not going to probably use a lot of insecticides and pesticides and stuff like that. Their tomatoes are some of the best tomatoes if you're a tomato person that you've ever eaten. Oh, our neighbor this year has a ton of tomatoes, and I'll be out in the driveway, and she'll be like, "Hey, Dusty," and she'll be hanging over the chain link fence.
Yeah.
She'll be like, "Get a Walmart bag and come here." And I have just now, I think there's one tomato left. But we've been in God, they're good. They're just meaty. They're not like grocery store tomatoes where they, get them in green and then they gas them and they're grainy and gritty and they're good.
Yeah, I've just never seen the phrase Amish produce, and I'm thinking to myself, where do the Amish live around here? Because
up in Tennessee, no, you need to take a road trip with your kids. Up in Lawrenceburg, I believe.
Okay.
Hold on. It's a regular field trip thing with the Huntsville public schools. I know your county schools.
Yeah.
Etheridge, Tennessee. Oh wow, there's an Amish welcome center, and they actually have wagon tours.
Because the only Amish that I knew of course, growing in New Jersey was Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And I'm like, they're trucking in like fucking tomatoes and cucumbers from Pennsylvania. Like, and this guy on the side of the road doesn't have like refrigeration or anything like that. I guarantee it.
Huh. We have Jersey tomatoes.
Amish, so.
Ooh, I just found a new place I want to go.
Eric Dominic said, I lived in Italy. That was a real tomato. Ruined me for life. I believe that. Ashley's trying to grow tomatoes. We've grown them in the past down in North Carolina, but now we actually have a yard and a space to do it. And we can let them get, nice and big. That's what she said.
The key to tomatoes, according to my neighbor next door, is buy the plants when they're pay the extra money. Don't try to buy the little 6-pack whatever unless you're going to literally what's that stuff? The freaking plant food stuff. Miracle Grow. Unless you're going to Miracle Grow the crap out of them. Because I mean, literally, hers are 2 feet taller. She got they're 2 feet taller than a chain link fence. I'm like, how do your damn tomato plants get that big? And she's like, I buy them big. You know, I pay a little extra and get the good ones.
Yeah. Eric said, same with pasta. Can't stomach Olive Garden anymore. I never could stomach Olive Garden. You know, growing up in the Northeast, like Olive Garden is not real food.
Yeah, totally. Olive Garden was like the McDonald's.
Right. Yeah. But in North Carolina and the one that I've seen here, like they're packed. They're packed to the gills. And yeah, it's sad. You remember those Olive Garden commercials where they're like, we send our chefs over to Italy to our kitchen so that they can learn the real authentic Italian. It's like, come on.
You know what their idea of real authentic Italian is making the sauce chunky.
Well, making the sauce, period.
Kristen, check your email.
Olive Garden's not making sauce. They're cutting it out of a bag.
The best is they try to lure you in with the free bread.
Oh, but the bread is good. I'll give them
No,
that.
it's good, but how many of those things can you freaking eat, you know?
I tell you what, Olive Garden, if you live with somebody that has IBS and probably a gluten intolerance of some sort, Olive Garden is a fascinating place to eat because between the iceberg lettuce and the breadsticks, you might as well just get your plate and take it to the bathroom.
Right.
Oh, we haven't eaten there in a long time.
I try not to eat the breadsticks too much because they look like dicks.
You're trying to break that habit too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Barbara said she's going to send me seeds. I can give them to you.
Okay.
All right, cool. What is the worst job that we have all had?
Uniform security.
Uniform security?
Yeah, when you're working at the guardhouse and you've got the union on strike here, and you're trying to escort in union busters over here. Not fun.
You mean like Armed and Dangerous?
I was not armed at that particular point in time. I would have liked to.
I meant the movie.
Yeah. Now,
Did you ever see the movie?
oh yeah, that's a great movie. I mean, uniform security. There's nothing wrong with it, and it's how I got my start and got me into loss prevention and everything. But it's still a highly unappreciated field of endeavor, shall we say? They're anal about the uniform, and you know, it's no, not for me. I would never do that again.
Blackberry Thistle Tea said, how about the cheese biscuits at Red Lobster? You know, those are actually really easy to make. I believe it's like Bisquick and cheddar.
Yeah.
They make a mix now. Like you can buy them at Walmart or whatever. Just buy the mix.
If you don't mind standing in line for 20 minutes. Worst job I ever had.
I've only been on Red Lobster once. Interesting fun fact about me.
I detailed cars for a while. That one was pretty rough. You know, it's sweaty. It is hot as hell. I mean, it's a guaranteed weight loss program. Probably worked for a restaurant here in town that also did catering. I think that was more related to the woman that we worked for because I love the restaurant business. And I love catering. That had the potential to be a great job, but she was just a witch.
Yeah, I think for me, it was at one point I was at Computer City and then CompUSA. And then at one point, I mean, a lot of the jobs were good, but at one point I became the manager just below the GM. I forgot what the title was. And what a crap job, man. Dealing with customer service issues like all the time.
Yeah.
No, I lasted like a month. And then I switched to another position. That was horrible. People screaming and yelling at you all day. And It was so funny. I'll never forget it. My very first day that I was in charge of the store, completely alone. I mean, you know, employees, but the only manager. And it was the night shift. And we're getting low on money in the register. So I go down to the safe, and, you know, I have the combination, everything. I start doing the combination, and the tumbler inside falls out. Yeah, I was like, oh, shit. I couldn't get any money. That job was just a nightmare.
Yeah.
Working in a grocery store for somebody other than family was rough. I did that for a while. I think, you know, with family, you can get away with a little more. You don't feel good. Your brother will cover for you. You know, you don't. I mean, sometimes working for family can be bad as well. UPS store, working for my dad. I loved working for my brilliant businessman. I wouldn't trade those years for anything. But if you told me I needed to own a UPS store and stand behind a retail counter all day long, I'd just put a gun to my head. I mean, like, seriously.
Yeah.
You know, I just sent y'all a picture of something. How brilliant is that? I'm figuring out a day trip tomorrow, I think, possibly with my wife while I'm looking at something. Somebody took spark plugs and hollowed them out all the way through, and I don't smoke pot, but they made one-hitters out of them, and they're selling them for $12 a piece.
Nice.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yes, they're pot pipes.
I think the worst job for me was my last job. It's not like it was backbreaking or anything like that. It was a small business, the first small business that I had ever worked for. It was literally, when I started, it was me and the owner. And he was of Indian descent. And what the business was selling promotional
Racist.
Yeah, selling
Right.
promotional products. And yeah, thank you. Both sides were wrong, or whatever the fuck he said. Anyways,
Oh, sexy girlfriend.
so he set up several niche websites for promotional products. So if you wanted a custom-made magnet, you'd go to one site. A custom printed flashlight, you go to another site. So he had all these different products. And he had just started with the magnet site, and that's when I came on board. And then we branched out, and he hired me on as the director of sales, which was just me. So it was like, all right, whatever. And I had been in sales for a while at that point. And I figured, you know what, instead of being out on a car lot, let me take an inside desk job, just selling. Basically, people find something on a website, they call in and place an order. The reason why it was the worst job was because after a while, he started making his money. He went from making 10 grand a month to about 225,000 a month. So he became pretty big. We had to hire on more staff and all this. But the reason why it was the worst job is because if you hate calling India for customer support, I had to be on the phone with India.
Try working for one. Just kidding.
From 9 in the morning till 6 at night, I was on the phone with India and dealing with language barriers and, hey, you got to fix this on the website, and, you know, all the graphic design came from over there, and, hey, that's not how you spell John. There's no Q in it. And, you know, doing that kind of shit all day long. And then finally, like, right before I left, he was blaming everything on me instead of the India team. He called me a cancer because all the other 3 or 4 employees were not happy as well. And so he's like, you're a cancer. I'm like, all right, it's time for me to go now. And, yeah, that was the worst job just because of dealing with overseas people.
I don't know why I didn't think of it. My all-time least favorite job that I ever had was running a milk route, was route work. You want to talk about, I mean, the bread men and the potato chip men have a little bit more made because it's a little bit lighter, but you want to talk about some heavy ass. I mean, what kills me now, I mean, this has been 20 years ago, but you look at it now, and most of the route guys, like Pepsi and Coke, the bigger stores, they have salesmen that go in, figure out what they need, and they have a semi that drops it off on a, you know, whatever, and the route guys just go in and put it on the shelf. But with milk, I mean, and if you look at most of the Pepsi and Coke guys now, they have helpers, and like the beer guys, they have helpers, a lot of them.
Yeah.
You want to talk about some tough ass work that you'll shed some pounds really quick. I struggled through 6 or 7 months that job. And I mean, it was getting to work at 3:30 in the morning, getting home at 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night, eating dinner, literally falling asleep in my clothes, in my uniform, and getting up in time to pretty much take a shower and put the clothes back on or put on a new one. Bad. And that was for $600 a week, I think. And that's 20 years ago. I mean, that was good. That was decent money, but damn, it was another one of those. I stopped and thought, I could go get 2 jobs and work less hours.
Yeah.
There's a lot
off on Wednesdays and Sundays, but Wednesdays you got to go in and load your truck and clean your truck.
There's a lot of jobs that I did for a day. Like I was a roofer for a day.
He rolled off the roof.
Dusty delivered water. I delivered 5 gallons water jugs. So carrying one of those in each arm, or 2. Yeah, that was tough. What else did I do for a day? I worked at a Snapple warehouse for a day.
A Snapple warehouse?
Yeah, like a Snapple distribution warehouse. And I quit that job because the forklift operator smoked pot on the job.
Because that's OSHA safe.
Yeah, and the night that I worked, I was a guy with the pallet jack and just moving one pallet from here to there, and that was my job, just doing that. And the forklift guys were taking full pallets of Snapple, raising them up, and racing. And it was, the one who drops the most loses. It's like, all right, this is not a safe work environment for your old pal. So I'm gonna. I just never went back.
I remember doing this one warehouse job where they pulled out all the those big lighting tubes, the fluorescents.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to throw them in the dumpster. Well, instead they'd have these giant sword fights with them.
Yep.
And you know what messy those stupid things are. God, that was a nightmare.
When I managed the McDonald's, we would do that. The
favorite job was definitely the ambulance service. That was one that, I don't know, I guess I'm an adrenaline junkie, but that was something where, every day was totally different. You looked forward to, like, can I pick up an extra shift? I want to go to work. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Jim, getting back to that first job you were talking about, did you have to wear a turban?
No.
Because I'd pay to see that.
No. Actually, my first week there, they had changed all their Facebook images and stuff. They put my picture up, or no, it was Skype, because we use Skype to call back and forth overseas. And my picture was on Skype so that the guys in India can put a face to the name and all that kind of stuff. And a call comes into the office. I take the call, and it's on speakerphone. And he's like, can you transfer me to Blessin? That was this guy's name, Blessin. I'm like, okay. And I transfer him over to the owner, and he puts him on speakerphone. And the first thing this guy says is, how come you have a big, fat, typical American on your Skype? And I'm like, you motherfucker. Like, all right, I see what kind of environment I just walked myself into. I should have just left then. Just be like, I'm so offended. And I'm a liberal, and just left.
Oh, Jim.
But I hung around because I couldn't wait to be called a cancer, apparently.
Did you have a grumpy face on your Skype picture?
My Skype picture was exactly this. Because the picture was literally, hey Jim, snap. So I was like,
that's great.
Yeah. I did become the token, yeah.
And you. I'm sorry, don't mind me while I eat.
I just wish I had some cake.
I just wish I had a birthday cake, and it's not even my birthday.
I just came from Walmart, so I'm good. Thanks. I got to go wave at them.
Hey, the Piggly Wiggly that you don't like has ground beef on sale on Saturday, on their Saturday sale.
We just went to Costco, so
How much was their ground whatever?
$2.99 a pound, I think.
Was that chuck or beef?
Chuck.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Do you buy a lot at Costco?
We spent $267, which is actually kind of light. We usually go and spend $300-400. But
Damn, that's like all my groceries for a month. You got some kids.
yeah,
That was like a pallet of mayo.
now we're finding, like, we're going to Aldi more. We're buying from this Little Lots place. Those little things. Hello.
Hello.
Blackberry Thistle Tea says the Piggly Wiggly in Ardmore rocks, Tennessee, Tennessee.
I think they do this.
Finished?
Huh?
Is the rice done?
Oh crap! Yeah, we unplugged the rice cooker. Sorry. I think they do the same ad cycle as the one that's by you.
Yeah.
Can't remember.
The one by us, I'm not welcome. They haven't explicitly told me that, but that's just how I feel when I walk in.
Dude.
Do you ever get banned from a grocery store?
I would imagine you could, but I haven't.
Well, I know you have those issues with people touching your cards and stuff, I figured.
No. I'm kind of nice about it now. If someone's in my way, I'll just ram my card into their cart. Just be like,
I hip checked somebody at the auction the other day. I had my hands were full of stuff, and this guy sitting there just standing there, and I said, "Excuse me," like 4 times. And
Guys,
they never moved an inch, so I kind of slid past, and right when I got into the right thing, I just hip checked right into him, knocked him about 4 feet. Pardon me.
He hasn't landed yet.
Costco's the one that drives me insane because their shopping carts are like 4.5 feet wide.
Yep.
And people are like, especially, I mean, by God, if there's a free sample of food, I mean, they are totally oblivious to what's going on around them.
no.
Yeah, that's true.
We do Costco. I don't know. We go there for like certain items. I mean, like they ran our daughter's contact. She has to use a specific contact lens solution, and it was like $5 off a 2-pack, and that made it a whole lot cheaper than Amazon or Walmart. A lot of stuff we don't buy at Costco, like milk and orange juice. Those aren't usually a good deal.
Yeah,
you get them cheaper at Aldi or somewhere else.
Yeah, we buy fruit because it looks better. Their fruit looks better.
You know, Jim's buying like a pallet of toilet paper at least.
Aldi's fruit's good. It's just going to be more B grade, and that's why it's cheaper. You know, their avocados are going to be smaller, or their bananas are going to be really, really huge, or their zucchini and squash is going to be bigger.
Yeah.
I buy everything from all these.
We're buying more and more now, but
I mean, they just opened a new one right down the street from me, and it's got 5 aisles instead of 4, so it's huge Aldi.
Yeah.
But they are carrying a few more name brands in there, I noticed. So, like Sabra hummus and things like that, they didn't have my old Aldi. So.
Yeah, our Aldi's, actually, to get anywhere it takes about 20 minutes, except for Walmart. But our Aldi, we have to go like down almost to the Tennessee River. Well, the road ends up right next to the Tennessee River. And it's like one lane the whole way, going each way.
Oh, I rode that road on my motorcycle late one night with my brother-in-law back before he wrecked his motorcycle and then didn't have one anymore. in the fog at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I believe it.
I was the most terrified I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
Was fun.
Blackberry.
Fun, but I'd never been on that road before, and had no idea what was coming up. But I couldn't see 15 feet in front of me.
Yeah. Driving down there the first time, I was like, I'm not sure about this road. But now it's like, now.
Thank you.
It sounds like you need to move, Jim.
Yeah, I need to move to like fucking.
Should have moved to a place like Columbus, Ohio, or something. Yeah.
I was thinking more the island of misfit toys, but
Blackberry Thistle Tea, yes, if I've been to a Dollar General market yet. The Dollar General right by my house is actually like a pseudo market. Like it doesn't have the signage of a Dollar General market, but they've got.
That was a Walmart neighborhood market until right before you moved here.
Yeah. Yeah, I could tell because what looks like a Dollar General is right across the street from it. Just on hollow that.
And when Walmart closed that one, they bought the store, or leased it, or did whatever it is they do.
Yeah.
I love when retail stores come in and they close and then someone takes them over, but they never change the outside of the building. We have like a Friendly's here that's like a flower store.
There is a Dollar General Market, Jim, over in North Huntsville. It's not the greatest neighborhood. I mean, you're not going to get shot or anything, but it's one of the full-size ones that's pretty good. Got a decent selection of groceries. I forget about it.
Yeah. No, this one's good for just running up. Like, we actually bought some ground beef there because it went on clearance. You could find clearance meat up there really pretty frequently because nobody's going in there to do their full grocery shopping. So.
Yeah, it's like probably the best Greek restaurant in Columbus is in an old Taco Bell. But it's all painted white now. So, you walk up and it's a white, the old brick with the arches, windows and everything, but it's a King Euro.
It's a Greco Bell.
Yeah. They've actually expanded on it too, so it's kind of different looking, but very
all of our old Taco Bells like that are now pawn your title place for check cashing places. It's true. The one on University and there's one on the Parkway. They're both like check cashing or title pawn places.
Yeah. That's funny because every time I pass by one of those, I'm like, that looks so fucking familiar. Like, what is it about that building?
Those were the good Taco Bells, though.
Yeah.
That's back when their menu was like tacos, bean burritos, tostados, and that's it.
Yeah.
It wasn't spicy fiesta, nacho crunch surprise, and all that crap.
Where you could go in with $2 and get a bean burrito and a medium Pepsi and still have change. I mean,
I went to a Taco Bell the other week up by the Walmart, and Ashley and I went. We got our food and whatever, and they ask you if you want sauce. Hey, would you like some sauce? We're like, yeah, mild sauce. And the guy hands me one sauce packet. He's like this. Here. I'm like, can we have more? And he's like, it's our last one. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you open? Why do you have one packet? Like, just throw it out and say you don't have any more. This is more insulting to me than running out. Like,
why don't you go dip me a cup full of that red sauce? It's the same stuff, and I'll work it over.
Something. But he's like handing me one packet, and I'm like, what am I going to do with this?
Which Taco Bell was that?
The one right outside the Walmart.
Oh, the one that's also a KFC?
Yeah.
The best one, the one by the hospital, they never get your order wrong. They load you up. They thank you. They're polite. I don't know who manages that thing. Yeah. It's the nicest Taco Bell.
Did you ever go get Chinese and get like one duck sauce?
The Chinese places that I typically go to, we haven't had Chinese since we've been here except for the buffet, but they have the sauces right out there, so you can just grab a handful and just throw it in.
Okay.
And that's what I always do. I just grab handfuls until they say, stop, like no more.
Oh no, you may have 4 hours.
Jim brings like a container and starts like cutting them open and filling it up.
Do you have a trough I could borrow?
That was the comfortable life that lived in Tulsa. Never mind.
So Eric, what is that real busy picture thing in the back there?
That's one of my auction buys.
Is it a nude man?
No, he's wearing a.
No, that's his personal collection.
It actually is going into my personal collection though.
Is it like mixed media art?
It looks like a mirror that someone painted.
It is.
Ah, okay.
Well, you can see it.
That's bizarre.
Very strange. I bought it last week, and I hadn't really had a chance. I had it in the truck. I grabbed it, moved it in, and it was sitting on the wall. And there was 3 other pieces of art. And although I made a vow not to buy any more art, I just felt like, and I paid $3 for all the art, so I have less than $1 into this thing.
Well, that's good.
And everybody was like, "What in the world is that? What kind of craziness is that? Who made that? That's worse. That's horrible stuff. Who's going to buy that?" And I bought it, of course. And I didn't even look at it. I took it, loaded the truck. Well, I went to pull it out of the truck, and on the back, there it's called "Dream a Little Dream." The artist's name is Louis Recchia. It's RECCHIA. 1992. Doing a little research on it, and there's also an art gallery where it was sold at, and they price on it is $600.
No.
So doing a little research on it, it looks like the reselling of this guy's art from galleries and stuff for this size, this type of art, it's about $1,500.
Nice.
That's about $1,499 too much.
I don't know. It grows on you. The more you look at it, it kind of grows on you.
It's
So
it's funky for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, I've got a lot of what do you call it? I've got a lot of different styles of art, but it kind of fits into with some of the stuff I have. But it's a really cool piece, and it's artist signed. It's got everything I need on it, and it's just going to go into my personal collection. I've got quite an extensive art collection. So
I just insulted his taste in artwork. Sorry.
I have no taste in artwork. I just like what I like.
Well, it caught my eye. I thought it was pretty neat from a distance.
It is a neat little. It's one of those things that you walk by and you're like, "What the heck is that?"
Yeah.
And then
I
by
thought it was a mirror.
you're like, "That's kind of different." And then you it's one of those pieces of art that grabs you. You just kind of sit there and watch it for a while.
Mm.
So I like it. And I didn't know anything about it. And doing a lot of research, the gallery was in Scottsdale and Santa Fe, according to the tag on the back. And like I said, there's a $600 price tag, but then I look up and he's now working out of Colorado. And one piece sold on, a print of his sold on eBay for $150. So, that's Steve.
Oh, sexy girlfriend.
Sorry, someone in the audience asked.
But so I think it's a really cool piece, and I think it's like I said, it'll go up on my wall until I get tired of it, and maybe I'll sell it.
I'd keep it. It's interesting.
It is. I mean, I just got to find a place for it. I mean, it doesn't fit into.
It doesn't look good in the man cave, but
No, my bedroom's completely full of art, and I got art there going all the way back to the 1860s. I got a couple of big pieces in my living room already, but it might go opposite one of those pieces. You know,
Why you mute me?
because you were echoing real bad when you walk away.
Oh, because it probably comes out from underneath my chair, my table, my speakers are under my desk. We have, I mean, we kind of, we're very eclectic with our artwork. Some of it's a little more eclectic. That's the nice thing about being in this business is if you find something you like and you want to hang it in your house.
Yeah.
You know, put it up for sale and enjoy it in the meantime.
yeah, I have some bizarre artwork on the walls too. So,
All right, Mr. Sadie wants to know, he turned on promoted listings until the 31st. Do you run cycles like sales or what? Just did it tonight on every listing. I run it in cycles like sales because I do 7-day listings and then I relist. That's just my style. Everything gets listed 3 to 4 times a month. Not going to explain why I do that because I think we've beat that dead horse enough a long time ago. But so yeah, and thanks for reminding me. So yeah, I will go back in. There's things that were in promoted listings that now aren't because the listing actually ended and I relisted it. So I got to keep redoing it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I do the same thing, and I've had 2 campaigns in the last week, and I've made over $106 off of those 2 campaigns.
I don't know anything about promoted listings. Sorry.
Yeah, I run my listings 4 to 5 days because I'm a 7 to 10 day lister as well. So if I promote them till the end of the month by, day 14, it's going to be zeroed out. So
according to this, my campaigns since the 13th have resulted in about $800 worth of sales.
Yeah.
280 plus 104 plus 377, whatever that is. And I've paid a whopping 34 plus 8. I've paid $42 extra in fees to do that, which I would do again in a heartbeat over and over and over again.
Yep.
And that was something that came up recently that, everybody's getting a credit now for what, $30 or whatever with a store subscription. So now it's just going to be the big guys pushing out the little guys, whatever. I think it's about paying, it's the same thing that happened on Amazon. If you wanted to promote a private label product, you had to do pay-per-click to get it up there, get the ranking up there, get the views and get the sales and get the momentum. It's like with any business, you're going to have to do that. eBay just hasn't done that for years. It's not that the sky is falling. It's just that they're realizing, hey, there's people out there that will pay extra. And like any good company, if we, to increase our bottom line, if we charge a little bit of fee for that or whatever, if you don't like it, don't sell here. I mean, I know it came out really hateful, but it's really simple. It's like I said to Sally the other day, or Sally and Valerie was on the morning show or whatever. Sally's like, I had 5 sales this weekend because of promoted listings or whatever, And I said, and you paid what in fees? And she's like, literally nothing. And I said, and if I told you that you could do that over and over and over and over and over again, would you pay that same amount in fees and the extra promoted listing fees every time? She's like, oh, heck yeah. And which one of us wouldn't?
Yep.
I think just sometimes it's easier to complain. It's easier to complain than it is to just realize that's the way of the future. Pay to advertise your products. That's the way it's happening with e-commerce. If you had your own website, you're going to have to pay Google, not AdSense, but Google, AdWords or whatever. You're going to have to pay to get your website bumped up.
And most of the times for me anyway, the trending rate is less than 5%.
Yeah. 5 to 6% is where I see most of mine at.
Yeah, I've got 21 sold on this current campaign, $561 in sales and $32.45 to fees. So.
Well, and Jack Smack said, he said, but my concern is that the pay-to-play for promoted listings will become the norm, and that if you don't do it, you'll be buried in the results.
Yep.
I mean, will it? I don't know. But I guess,
That's a concern of mine. And what's going to happen is it's going to turn into, if you've ever done Google pay-per-click there, then it just becomes a matter of who's willing to pay more. And then at that point, it's,
Yeah, you could almost have like a race to the top with how much you're going to give. Like, oh, that person's doing an 8% thing. I'll do 10%, and that'll push me higher in the ad rankings then because I'm paying eBay more.
Yep.
that's a concern, but I just, it's not a lot you can control about that. But you know what? I mean, it's just goes into the write-off at the end of the year anyway, so I don't really worry too much about it. It's not costing me that much money, and if it gets me more sales because of that, because they track that click, then I'm good with it.
Yeah.
That's all you can really do.
But at the same time, I think there's a lot of people that aren't going to see any results from it, period. Because it doesn't matter how much you promote your item has to be desirable to begin with. You know what I mean? If it's and I know I pick on these a lot, if it's a standard Ralph Lauren polo shirt and you decide to do a promoted listing, are you really actually probably going to see any results from that? You know?
You might promote yourself from 8,000 to 6,000.
You know,
But you know what? It might get you that sale that it could. Everybody else who's doing Ralph Lauren is doing promoted listings. It might get you that one sale. You never know. And so in my mind, I would rather be the guy that, I already do sales anyway. So it's just another sale.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
And Thrift Daddy says sell unusual items.
That's the key to selling online to begin with. That's where you're going to either sink or swim. If my God's honest opinion, when I look back on things that we sold and whatever, if I'm selling average run-of-the-mill items with a ton of competition, I don't see sales. If I sell items that are a little more unusual, or maybe they're, discontinued products that people can't get anymore, but they still have a following, or they're collectible and the market's not completely flooded. I mean, you just have to have a good mix of stuff. But I think people are too, with those items that I mentioned, they're a little more unusual. There also comes a certain, not risk tolerance, but there becomes a certain comfort zone that you have to work your way into to be comfortable with selling items that you're not familiar with.
Yeah.
And there's really not an excuse in this business to say, I'm not familiar with that, because all the research you ever needed to become familiar enough to sell it is right there on your smartphone or right on your computer.
Yeah.
You don't have to know what an item does or what it's for. I bought a bunch of computer stuff today. Half of it, Eric was helping me look it up before the show started. He's like, I have no freaking, it's part of a rack server. And I don't know, but I would stick them out there at $35 a piece. You've got 16 of them. I paid $20 for the whole case of them. I actually paid a little less than that, $15 for the whole case of 16. He's like, all you got to do is sell one of them and you got all your money back.
Right.
Put the model number out there and the brand. You Google what it is, and it's a such and such rack server, holder clip, whatever. Put that in your title and list it. And if somebody needs it, they'll find it.
Right. I think circling back to promoted listings, I think even the unusual items can benefit from a promoted listing, because you may have the only.
How's that chair, Jim?
I'm one of maybe 3 people or 4 people now that have this poster up on eBay, but I'm still promoting the listing because someone can look up Bud Light poster and not Spuds McKenzie and Ben Franklin and all the other keywords that are in there. And
we're all typing that in right now.
Well, see, you have to add the word unusual, and you also have to say worth money.
True.
And that doesn't fall under the both of those.
Right. Yeah, sometimes the unusual shit nobody cares about. Like, I'm the only one with this screwdriver, but who really gives a shit,
Yeah, but at the same time, if that's a specialty screw, I have one I threw in a yard sale. I have one I threw in a yard sale box, which I now buried my yard sale. Oh, it's underneath all. I'm not moving. That's like 400 pounds of stuff. And Eric helped me look it up. It's a specialty tool, and I probably would have been. But if the right person came along, they got to buy it from me or don't buy it.
Yeah, it's nice to have the only item. Sometimes it sucks, but sometimes it's nothing wrong with that either. So
you actually, out of Bud Light poster Spuds, Bud Light Spuds poster, Best match, 57 results. You show up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 organically.
No, that's not good.
How much is it?
Oh, that's not 14 out of 57 isn't bad. I mean, that's in the top 25%.
Yeah, but it's more than half the page down. That's what I'm looking at.
But
Yeah, there's only 3 sellers with the free to party
Right.
on there. One's got one that's all folded up for $7.99. One's at 15 plus $7 shipping for one, and you're at your price. You're the cheapest, so you're also on sale. Although it's not showing as being promoted right now. So
I might have
yeah, I
thought.
was looking on the mobile view. I'm not showing any promoted. I'm not showing anybody have anything. Oh, there's a sponsored. Okay, the sponsored product's actually showing up 3 spots underneath you for it's a different poster, but
Right.
that's the only sponsored I see on those search terms on mobile. You know what I love about you guys? You love to get nerdy with me and do research on numbers and stuff like in the Cassini kind of end of things. Damn.
tearing it up tonight.
I didn't think I was supposed to do that while you had the app open. Missouri. Well, at least they're not in California. Yeah, I'll take that. Because I told Tristan I may take her on a little mini road trip.
Yeah, I think we're going to do that Florida road trip next year.
Yeah.
Go down to that happiest place in the world.
All right, all right, so can we change the subject for a second?
Sure.
All right, so today, and I did a video at the time, not realizing we were going to do the show, and then Nikki went live and everybody else, so if I stepped on anybody's toes, you know what, just suck it. No, I really didn't mean to, though. But this is a baseball that I picked up today. This is why we were late starting, because we got into this really good discussion about it. And no, I don't have white gloves on, so you know what, just don't even lecture me, whatever. I'm picking it up by the stitches. Another reseller, and I don't know if yeah. Another person found this, asked an opinion, then said they weren't interested, whatever, and passed the information along to me. And said, if you want it, it's yours. It's kind of a professional courtesy thing. I thought that was really cool. The guy wanted $125 for it. Where's my camera? I'm over there. The guy wanted $125 for it. I had kind of already done my research, trying to help the other person out, and it was just iffy. There is a guy that watches the show, and I don't know if he's watching now. His name's John. Sometimes he's in the chat. It's kind of a cool story. John actually has nothing to do with reselling, but he found my videos at some point a year and a half ago, because I think I put autographed something in the title. Somehow he found me, and he emailed me and said, hey, I'm interested in that. I'll buy it. And he's now my go-to guy on everything autographed. He lives in California. He's a big autograph collector. He's not by any means, you know, the end all, you know, but the guy knows what he's doing. So anyhow, so he had been emailed some pictures. He kind of went back and forth. Was on Facebook Marketplace. The guy wanted $125. I offered him $80, and he's like, how about $85? And I'm like, you know, okay, whatever, $5, but yeah, I guess it's gas money or whatever. So I ended up meeting him. We were supposed to meet up yesterday, and I ended up meeting him today in the Books A Million parking lot. He was 30 minutes late, but I forgot how cool Books A Million stores were. They have the cool, like, just not book. They have vinyl now.
Yeah, we don't have them here, unfortunately.
Well, I forgot they also own the Second and Charles stores, which is one of those in Birmingham, which sells everything from video games to vinyl. It's all like take your used stuff in, your used musical things, and they'll buy them or give you trade credit or whatever. But I just remember he just emailed me back, and it reminded me. So anyhow, it's an autographed baseball. There's 4 signatures on it. The baseball itself was made by, oh geez, come on, my good old LED lighting that's like freaking spotlight. was made by the Reach Company. And there is a website, Eric and I were looking at it earlier, there is a website to date the ball. The ball dates, according to this website, with the specific commissioner that's written on it and all the typeset and all that, dates to approximately 1940 to 1942. I don't know how approximate that is because this guy goes through on this website and lists all the balls by specific years. And I can't imagine that a baseball company on January 1 every year changed all their patterns. And then, on December 31st, they changed all their patterns. So I think that's a guesstimation on the year. So it could be a 1939 to 1943,
Yeah.
But the really cool thing is it's signed by, which is almost too good to be true. It is signed by signed in quotes. It's signed by Lou Gehrig, which Lou Gehrig got was an MLS. What do you have?
Yeah.
Lou Gehrig's disease. Yeah. He started getting that, according to my research, sometime around 1940, and his wife started having to sign for him. And because at that point, he couldn't, his hands were pretty much paralyzed or whatever. But he still did sign into 1940 a little bit. It's Mickey Mantle, Lou Gehrig. It is Joe DiMaggio. And then last but not least, which is kind of the home run, if it's real, is Babe Ruth. My camera sucks on here. I did a video on it. It's over on my channel. Go check it out later. Don't leave the show, though. I'm going to look to make sure nobody leaves. 66 people. Okay, cool. I took my loop with me today. I had asked Eric's opinion on it the other day. Eric said he wouldn't buy it.
Actually, I'm going to change my mind on that. For the price you paid, I would buy it only because in researching the baseball is worth between $200 and $400 by itself.
By itself, right. Which is kind of what I had found, that the baseball itself was worth something. So definitely, I took my loop with me. They don't appear to be stamped. Normally a stamped signature has inconsistencies to it because they don't stamp perfectly or evenly. When somebody picks up a pen and they first start signing, sometimes you'll see a little more ink there when they trail off. Sometimes you'll see a little less ink, whatever. It's definitely 4 different ink styles and ink colors. I'm not an expert by any means, but everything under a jeweler's loop it's not stamped. I mean, I can tell you that much. John wrote me back a minute ago and said, Dusty, I thought you did a superb job in articulating the background and researching the history of the signed baseball. I especially like your comments on taking risks in buying and selling. I know there's a big financial commitment in getting it authenticated if you want to. If I send it off to PSA, which is the biggest grading company for something like this, it's going to be about $300, if not more, to get it authenticated. And if it comes back as, hey, it's totally bogus, I spent $300 on nothing. He said, but continue to use good judgment. Hopefully a financial rewards in the end will be worth it. I'm really rooting for you. P.S. In my opinion, those are not clubhouse signatures. I've seen enough signed balls of those 4 players to tell you they're too close to the real thing to be clubhouse. They would not have put in that kind of effort to make it that good. P.P.S. Mantle had 2 different signatures, one from his playing days and the other from the baseball card autograph show circuit that took popularities in the late 80s, early 90s. The one you have appears from the latter. Mantle died in 1995. DiMaggio had some variation as well. Your signature on him looks more modern as well. He died in 1999. So somebody got a ball in 1939. Somebody either faked it in later years as option number 1. Option number 2 is somebody had Babe Ruth sign it back then and then held on to it and had the chance to meet other greats and had them sign it over the years. I don't think these were all signed in 1939, obviously, because Mickey Mantle didn't even frickin' play to what, 1950s? Yeah. 50s or 60s?
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know, I just felt like for $85, if nothing else, I mean, yeah, that's a decent amount of money. It's not going to kill me where we're at right now, but I don't know. I just felt like it was worth it for the research. I felt like it was worth it for the chance of, it's like I said to Eric the other day, I said, what if I told you you could buy a lottery ticket and you could pay $85 and that lottery ticket was potentially worth $50,000 or $75,000? in worst case, your lottery ticket when you scratched it off was going to be worth $100.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's almost a guaranteed. So it's kind of weighing that, you know, risk reward thing. But I felt like the risk on the low end, there wasn't any risk.
That other ball he was selling was worth between 150 and 200 just for the ball.
Yeah, the same guy also has for sale. I'll just go ahead and say it. Has a ball that's signed by, and this is another one of those too good to be true. Martin Luther King, Jr. Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, and John F. Kennedy.
That's weird.
I mean, that's like the trifecta. You know,
On a baseball?
On a baseball.
The baseball dates from 52 to 57.
Was it a reach as well?
No, it's a Spalding, but there's some variations. But you know, looking at the pictures from the marketplace, it is definitely a 52 to 57 ball, and they're saying pricing is $150 to $200.
So,
I mean, there's definitely pros and cons to that ball because I've seen the pictures up close because we're in the same area. And what's intriguing about it is it doesn't look like it was signed by somebody that was trying to sign someone else's name. You know how like when you're trying to sign someone else's name, you try to get everything perfect. So there's no variation in the ink because you're just trying so hard to make it perfect. In the Babe Ruth and the Joe DiMaggio and even the Mickey Mantle a little bit, you could tell that it was kind of free form, like they were just kind of signing it.
Like they were comfortable. Now, but
Right.
the other part of that, and for those not familiar with what a clubhouse signature is, I mean, baseball players would essentially hand their bat boys, when they had time, would sit and practice their signatures. And if they got good enough, the more famous baseball players that had to sign a lot of stuff after games would literally leave a couple dozen balls sitting in the locker room, pick the kid that knew how to sign, hand him $5, say, sign all these balls. Or they'd use managers or the freaking janitor or whoever knew how to sign their name.
Right.
And the sports market doesn't view those as forgeries because technically a forgery, I mean, I forge Tristan's name all the time, but it's not forgery because she gives me permission. Forgery has to be with willful and malicious intent to harm or defraud. If somebody gives you permission to sign their name, you can sign their name. So the baseball community, you know, they don't have a whole lot of value because they weren't actually signed by the correct person, but the sports memorabilia market doesn't really view them as forgery, so to speak.
Yeah.
Oh, Brian, the Oakbrook Picker said, what happens if they're real? Do you cut the other guy into the deal as a finder's fee? You know what? The guy brought that up, and I was like, listen, here's the way I operate. I've sold stuff to people before that could have been worth a lot of money and told them, if you get $1 million, I don't want to know about it. I said, yeah, I'll buy you dinner or something, you know, but as far as like a fine, no.
Yeah.
Sorry, you could have spent the money and sent it off and had it authenticated.
And we also think it might possibly be part of that FBI, the case, what was that, Operation
Bullpen.
Bullpen. If you research that, there was a huge amount of fake stuff that was sold by one group, and they said the signatures were spot on, and there's a lot of stuff still out there, so it could be part of that.
And those are the 4 names that are probably the most forged.
Well, the 2 most valuable, I mean, Mantle and DiMaggio. DiMaggio, it's kind of funny. We bought my father-in-law DiMaggio signed photograph with a certificate of authenticity. We actually bought it from Books A Million 20-something years ago, and it was like $5 in the clearance bin. Could have been part of that Operation Bullpen.
Yeah.
But, you know, he had signed it in blue and what, I mean, DiMaggio and Mantle pretty much signed anything and everything, and that, I mean, because that's how they supported themselves in later years.
Yep.
And they got kind of cheapened, but you know, of course, Lou Gehrig didn't sign for very many years and couldn't. And you know, of course, Babe Ruth signed a ton of stuff, but he's still kind of the holy grail. So
Babe Ruth, from what I've read, is the kind of guy that wanted to sign stuff. Like he spent time after games, after, you know, batting practice or whatever they did back then. He would sign anything just because he enjoyed signing and talking to people and things like that. So
Well, if nothing else, the guy today, we exchanged numbers, and I said, listen, I buy and sell stuff. Not going to lie. My motto is if it's not immoral or illegal, I'll take a stab at it. And I said, you represented this as you believe they were clubhouse, reproduction, whatever. I'm okay with taking a chance. I said, do you have anything else for sale? And I already knew about the other baseball or whatever, because I had looked at on the marketplace thing, you can view the other items they have for sale. But he goes, well, yeah, I got like 200 fidget spinners in the back seat that I want $2 a piece. And I'm like, no, I just passed on a ton of those at Walmart yesterday for probably $1 a piece. I said, but I appreciate it. And he's like, well, let me give you my number. And we exchange numbers, and he's going to send me pictures of stuff he has. So, there's a little connection there. His story was that he bought out a portion of an estate with some sports memorabilia. Of course, in this business, a story's worth pretty much, put that with a quarter and get yourself a cup of coffee. But I don't know. But I will be taking a long vacation if it's real.
I don't blame you.
I will do videos from the vacation.
So are you going to send the ball off, or?
I don't know. I want to talk to John a little bit more about that, get his opinion on it. There's also somebody I'm not going to mention by name because not everybody wants to be put out publicly, but there's also somebody that's in the Facebook group that watched the video that we've been messaging back and forth. When show first started, that's what I was doing. I was emailing him a little bit better pictures. He's got some really good connections with a memorabilia store that has, they have Beckett and PSA come to their store on a fairly regular basis every month, and they do millions of dollars a year in autograph, and he's going to show all the pictures to them and get their opinion.
Would this be something you would save for an Antiques Roadshow?
Yeah. If they had one, if they had one near us, they just had one in Birmingham about a year and a half ago. My brother-in-law actually went. Of course, they do their tickets through a raffle, like you pretty much sign up and hope you get a ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally would, because that'd be a free appraisal and would be fun to go to anyhow,
Right.
With my luck, I'd wear my wife beater that day and I'd actually end up on air.
You love that show. You'd probably put on a suit.
Dude, I know. I'd be the guy, the guy that always wears the funky suits with the, that has the little mustache.
Oh, yeah.
And the bow ties and all that. Oh, yeah.
Put on a little Moe's bow.
Ticket checker. Here we go. They're going to be in New Orleans, July 22nd.
There you go. 2018.
2017.
They were already there.
Yeah, they do a random drawing. Yeah. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Green Bay, Wisconsin, St. Louis, Missouri, New Orleans, Louisiana, Portland, Oregon, Newport, Rhode Island. I know a guy here that's into sports stuff and has a sports/comic book store. I don't know. I don't think he's, even qualified to probably guess at it any more than he knows comics more than anything too.
I'm really untrusting of local stores, and it's not, I can have a great relationship with them, but there's something in the back of my mind that says this guy's telling me it's not real just so you can buy it from
yeah, but here's how you go into that. Here's my rule of thumb, because I did that with a bunch of comics a couple years ago. And he's like, well, they're not really worth, but I'd give you whatever. And I was like, I'd sell on eBay, right? I stayed up, pulled an all-nighter last night. I've already went through, and I know this one right here. And he's like, okay, well, yeah. And then the tone totally, he hadn't really even made an offer at that point, but he realized that, okay, I'm not the bullshitter.
Right.
And he knew that I knew what I was doing. And my kind of rule of thumb is if they ever pull they're not really worth anything, but I'll take them off your hand. That right there is like, if they're not worth anything, then why would you want to take them off my hands?
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think that ball would be worth if it turned out that all four were legit?
Probably in the neighborhood of 75 to 100 grand.
And then you've got to pay a major auction house, which is going to take probably a 30% cut.
Oh yeah, yeah. But that's the thing is, if you get into the right auction house and the right sports memorabilia auction, you can probably add 25 or 30% just because of the exposure you're getting out of that. So.
Probably could name your price too. If you had something that was desirable enough, I know you can with different auction houses, you could probably say, listen, I'm going to do it, but here's what I'm going to pay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
if you got a really desirable item they want, they're negotiable on those fees.
Yeah, if you can get something about, it's going to be like a centerpiece of an auction, or it's going to draw other people to the other things that are for sale there. I mean, they're going to make, because again, they're not only are they making money off of you, they're making money off of buyer's premium. So if they're charging a 10% buyer's premium, you can probably knock your 30% down to 20 or 15, maybe even 10. I mean, I know a lot of auctioneers will do that. If you bring in really good, desirable items that they know are going to bring in a good amount, they're not going to have to deal with a bunch of crap. They'll cut you a break on the amount they charge, because they know they're going to get their 10% or 15% buyer's premium on top of it.
Right. I don't know. And if not, I ended up with
it's $200 to $400 according to that website on what the balls are worth. I mean, worst case scenario, you're looking at $200 to $300 for the ball.
Here's somebody that has a 34 to 39 reach with no signatures on it, and it's really, really clean on eBay for $269, and they have 13 watchers.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't really know. Okay, so what's it worth if it had some fake signatures on it?
It's probably still worth about the same, maybe a little bit less. But those signatures can be cleaned off too. You can
What
clean
about
those
you wipe these off?
Just take a Mr. Clean magic eraser to it. You'll be fine.
Sandpaper and a Brillo pad.
It's used what the baseball players use, mud.
Yeah.
But you got to order the right mud.
Brian Notebook Picker's asking how would you spend that money?
Baseball umpires, before every game, wipe down between 25 and 30 baseballs. And they have to use a special type of mud that comes out of a certain area. It's the only mud they're allowed to use.
Huh.
And they wipe down every ball with that mud before the game, because they're taking that gloss coat off of it.
If I had $75,000, how would I spend it?
Key West.
Tristan would get a new vehicle. Not new. I mean, she would get something, probably a couple-year-old Tahoe, or she's been wanting to get back into a Tahoe. Probably eliminate the cars we have now and get myself a decent Silverado truck with 100,000 miles. Or I wouldn't go out and blow it. And then yeah, probably either take a cruise, a long cruise, maybe even a European cruise, or back to Key West. And then really spend some time on that vacation figuring out, okay, what am I going to do with this money, and where am I going to put it? How do I want to change my business model going forward? Because I think that would open. No, I wouldn't buy my kids crap. Grandma's Magic Classic. No, and Gabe's about to turn 16. Gabe would get something. Gabe could have one of the cars. He could have the flatbed. Yeah, and just really do some, because that kind of money could really open up, buying bigger loads of stuff, or, I have a buddy that goes to auctions of motorcycle and ATV and watercraft dealers that go out of business, and he buys the whole entire parts department, and he makes kick-ass money, and all he does is wholesale flip that stuff to other people that sell it on eBay. Get into something a little bigger scale like that, where I could walk in and make a $15,000 purchase. And he also buys like heavy equipment. He'll buy a $15,000 piece of heavy equipment and turn around and sell it for 30 grand. I'd like to do that 5 or 6 times a year versus listing on eBay every day. But you got to have bankroll to do that, some of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I've also learned, you know, I've had stuff, I've got that painting that's back behind my head that's got a Renoir signature, and it's, you know, obviously a student study. That's not real. I didn't think it was, but I tried not to get my hopes up at the time. I mean, I've also learned, I think that's something that comes easier the longer you're in this business. You know, you get something, you hope it's worth $1 million or whatever, but at the end of the day, you're like, I'm not going to get my hopes up because I hate that feeling of disappointment, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had that same problem when I had that Ferrari stuff. I just got a signature and all that stuff, and you know, it was real, and I'd hoped for a lot more. I was very happy with what I got, but I still thought my asking price was right. So.
Right.
But that's all you can do.
The question is, how long are you going to hold on to that money before you spend it?
Oh,
How long?
If the ball is real, I know I'm just getting back in, so you probably change the subject of it. But if the ball is real, how long are you holding on to that money? If you sell it on eBay, let's say, if you were to sell it on eBay, how long are you holding on to the money?
I wouldn't sell it on eBay. You like to worry about a chargeback kind of thing?
Yeah.
There's no way in hell I'd even begin to put it on eBay.
That's something where
That's something where I want a check in my hand from a major reputable auction company.
Yep.
Yeah.
End of transaction. Thank you very much.
Yep.
So do companies like PSA, they also do they still do it where they travel around and authenticate things on site?
Maybe at baseball card shows or something.
I don't know. I've never really tried. I've never bothered doing anything like that. So
It actually looks like they do. JSA does. I don't know about PSA. I'll have to go look that up.
PSA, I think, is more expensive.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We've actually got to go to Florida during a month that it looks like JSA is actually going to be in Florida. I could take it with me on the airplane.
That's when they lose your bag.
I wouldn't put that in a bag. I'd carry my Merce. And if it was fake, I'd make a big old video of throwing it into the ocean. So JSA is actually in November, is actually going to be right down the road in Coleman, Alabama. Interesting.
Take a trip down.
Don't forget.
Did any of the sites say what the turnaround time is if you want to mail it in?
JSA. Does not say. Unless I'm just totally missing, I can't find the turnaround time.
Now, if you were going to authenticate it, would you pay the money to authenticate each signature, or would you just do like the Babe Ruth? And then
No, because what I looked up, it says that pretty much Babe Ruth commands a premium, so it's like $300. But from what the way I'm reading their website, the 300 is regardless of how many signatures there are on there.
so they'll authenticate the other 3.
They would, if I'm reading that correctly, they would do. Now you can also get the signature graded. I don't need it graded. I don't need to know if they consider that an 8 out of 10 signature, or blah blah blah. You know, I just want to know about authenticity.
Right. I know for one of them, if there's multiple signatures on the wall, they'll charge you the premium rate for whatever, like in this case, the Babe Ruth, and then they'll charge a lower rate for the other 3. So you still could end up paying, you know, $500-$600.
Which one?
I think it was PSA that does it that way.
The way I read it on PSA, autograph baseball grading. Hold on. Search by category, baseball. Now I can't find that page again. Hold on, because it specifically had a paragraph about Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth's authentication fee is $300. Whether it is a single signed item or an item with multiple signatures, the authentication fee remains $300, as there is no change in the authentication rate for multi-signed items once the premier autograph surpasses the $150 fee. Unless I'm reading that wrong.
Unless they're charging you $300 for the Babe, and then everything else is the normal rate.
Unless they're doing that. I don't know. I tried to call them today, and I got put on eternal hold, so I gave up and hung up.
Yeah, because the way I read the same thing. The way that I took that was Babe Ruth is going to be $300 no matter what, whether it's just his name on a ball or his name with others on the ball. Well, you're going to pay that $300 for just his name.
Yeah, but if you put a name,
I think there's a section on there where you can do a search for people's names, and they'll tell you how much they charge.
Yeah, on Lou Gehrig, it says call for pricing.
Yeah.
Says the same thing for Babe Ruth. I mean, if you put in Mickey Mantle and put number of signatures 4, then it tells me that total fee for 4 signatures is $100. So I think with the Babe Ruth, it would still be the same. I mean, unless I'm caught in my own shorts, unless I'm reading that wrong. I don't know. Honestly, it'll still be sitting on a shelf a month from now.
All right, what do you say we end the show? Are we about out of things to talk about?
Sure.
Yeah. Some of us.
You'll send it in as soon as Jason gets the safe open.
Put the ball next to the safe.
Not in the safe, because you can't get it open. Next to.
Dude, I'm going to tell you right now, I'd blow that thing up with a shotgun.
I don't know. I kind of don't mind just sitting there, leaving it locked. It's kind of like a surprise waiting to happen.
It's like out of the safe sitting in your office.
That would drive me nuts. All right, guys, we're going to end the show here. I feel the steam. Eric Dominic said, don't leave, guys. I'll have to talk to my wife then. It's late enough. You should be talking with your penis.
Did you really go there?
I did go there. All right. I'm calling it. Have a good night.
Time of death was 10:37.
Yeah. That's it. Have a good night.
See ya.